First of all, today is March the 1st, 2007, Thursday, March the 1st. And the voice you're hearing now is Drew. And
is that on?
Yeah, I'm recording. And we're talking with Granny today. And let's see, I'm in town right now to visit some friends, and so I thought I'd come by. And so we're going to talk with Granny today. And first, you know, I'm going to start off the same way that the dad has done or whatever. Talk to me about growing up. You were born in Rising Star, right?
I thought I was supposed to see a light.
There's no light. I've got it, no light.
Oh, okay. Now, what was the question?
You were born in Rising Star, right?
Right.
So when were you born?
January 2nd, 1929.
Okay, and you're a twin, right?
Right.
Who was born first? You or Wani?
Wani.
Wani was born. Does she hold that over you? Does she talk about?
No, I hold it over her. I'm the baby.
And then you had another sister, Johnny.
Right.
How old was Johnny when y'all were born?
She was 15 months older.
Okay. And just the three of y'all. Y'all really
Right.
only
Right.
three. All right. We'll talk about. I guess first talk about your parents.
I wish I could see a light, then I'd know you were filming me.
I haven't touched it. Talk about your parents. Who were your parents?
Mother and Daddy.
What were their names?
Ira and John.
Ira and
Millwee.
Millwee. What was your mom's maiden name?
Jones.
Jones.
That's the reason I married a Williams, because I could spell both of those.
Couldn't spell Millwee.
I had to everywhere I went.
Right.
Millweed, milkweed. So I looked for a short name.
Yeah.
Easy to spell name. Now, Drew, let's cut this off.
No, this is fine. Do you remember your grandparents?
The only grandparent I had was my mother's mother.
Uh-huh.
She died when I was 2 or 3 years old.
So you don't really remember her
No,
at all?
no.
Where were they from? Do you remember where?
They were from Duster.
Mm-hmm. Is that in Texas or?
Yes, it's down close to Rising Star, where I was born. See, you forgot to ask me where I was born.
I know, we covered that already.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
See, that's
well, I said it. That's the first thing I
oh,
said.
okay. That's my mental state. See, I don't want to be here.
Okay. So you were born in Rising Star, and what kind of stuff do you remember where you lived in Rising Star? You like
Several houses.
several houses,
But
just lived all
rent houses. We did not own a home. That was back during the Depression.
Mm-hmm. Let's say you were born in 1929. So how did that affect you growing up? I mean, it was right after the market crash was in 1929.
Right,
So
right,
I guess it happened right after you were born.
right.
So did that affect anything? I mean, you probably don't remember, but do you remember them telling you, did you have to move or anything like that?
No, the only thing I remember about the Depression is my dad drove a truck, and he would go to these banks that had crashed, if you call it, or closed down, and he would haul off their stuff, and we girls got to use their paper to play with. In other words, their deposit slips or whatever they had back in those days.
Really?
You know, he'd bring them home, and we'd have writing paper.
Is that what kind of made you? I know that that's what you've done with your life. So was that the seed basically that started you wanting to do like clerical work and stuff?
Every child wants to write on paper. I guess you might not have. You were the computer age.
All right. So what kind of stuff? Did you ever have like small jobs or anything there in Rising Star? Did you ever work for anybody or anything? You never.
No. In fact, we moved from there when I was through the. I didn't think I was supposed to have to remember dates.
You don't have to remember dates. Just...
Okay.
Well, first of all, what did Mama do in Rising Star?
She didn't work at first, as I remember, but then she worked at cafes. Mm-hmm. And
she's a waitress and.
No, cook.
Oh, cook. Okay. Okay, and so you went to school there until.
I think I went through the 7th grade.
Okay.
Back then, you graduated from grade school.
Uh-huh. What do you remember about school? Do you?
I liked school.
You did like it?
I liked grade school.
What was your favorite subject?
I don't know. I don't know.
You just like being there?
I liked recess.
What about Wani and Johnny?
They were smarter than me.
Did they like being in school though?
I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so you went to. Did you ever play any sports or anything, or were girls allowed to play sports?
Tried to play. Oh yeah, I guess. Well, I tried to play tennis back, but that takes a lot of know-how.
Yeah.
A lot of speed.
All right. So you were there until the 7th grade. Did you have any friends you can remember specifically that you?
Right. Right.
Do you remember names or anything like that?
Yes. In fact, when Wani and I went to this Rising Star reunion back, 2 or 3 years ago, then I saw some that I grew up with. I mean, as a child.
Where did they end up? Do they still live? Any of them still live in Rising Star?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Has the city changed any since you left?
Gone downhill after I left.
Just less people even, or just?
Well, it was
just drying up.
Drying up, like small towns do.
Yeah.
But we drove around and looked at the house that I last lived in. It hadn't changed, except had a fence.
Yeah. This may be somebody from. Hello, it's Drew.
Why?
I'm recording now. I did take a moment there because I had to answer the phone, and it was an important call. So we're back. Okay, so where were we? We were just talking about how things have changed in Rising Star, and you lived there till you were in probably the 7th grade, and you and Wani went back. When did y'all go back? When was that last Rising Star reunion?
2 years ago.
2 years ago? Okay.
I told you I don't know dates.
That's fine. That's close enough. Okay, so then what did y'all do after you were in the 7th grade? What did y'all do then?
We moved to Rule.
Why
That's still in Texas.
Why did y'all move to Rule?
Because Mother had an opportunity to first work at a cafe and then buy it.
How did she know about this? Do you know?
Through Uncle Herman, a relative.
Okay. And Uncle Herman lived in Rule?
Right.
How did, I didn't even really ask you about uncles and aunts and uncles that you had.
I had a whole bunch.
Oh,
Back then families were big. Mother had a bunch and Daddy had a bunch. And
what caused them to end up in Rule, do you know?
His job. Uncle Herman was with Oil, and he was transferred there. And we'd always been such close families, and so then he immediately made plans to get us to move to Rue, which we did.
Was he the only kind of family that was away from Rising Star? How many people did you know that lived in Rising Star?
Whole bunch of family. People or family?
Family, yeah, family. Like, because Uncle Herman lived in Rule, but where was the rest?
Before Uncle Herman moved to Rule, he also lived in an humble camp, which was close to Brownwood, which is close to Rising. Everybody lived within hollering distance. Well, we went to church together. We were just all together all the time.
Where did y'all go to church?
Church of Christ, there in Rising Star.
Y'all went every Sunday?
And Wednesdays, and Bible study, and vacation Bible school. And every time the doors opened, we were there.
Is that what everyone in the town did?
No, just us Christians.
Was that always important? I mean,
It was to Mother.
It was to Mother? What did your dad think about it?
He was gone most of the time. He was in hospitals. He was actually sort of mentally ill, like me.
Really?
You didn't know that?
No, I never knew that.
Oh, okay.
What
Well, he didn't keep a job. He didn't, I say mentally ill. I mean, to me, I don't know.
Well, I've heard you refer to him as being lazy. Years ago, I've heard you say that.
Well,
before.
that's
and that your mother was the hardest worker.
Right. But she felt like she had to raise us, and all they did was fuss and fight. And anyway, I was young then. I don't remember too much about it. But he was away from home a lot.
Really?
And I think he was in well, I know he was in mental hospitals on his own, or not from drinking. Now, my dad did not drink. It was, I don't know, he was the baby of about 12 children, and he was spoiled rotten. Mother was the baby of about 10 children, but she was raised to work all the time.
Were these
She
in
was bossy.
Texas?
She wore the pants in the family.
And these were in Texas.
Yes.
But I mean the mental. I don't know. Mental.
Somewhere in Texas, but I was too young to know. All we three girls knew was Daddy's gone, and then Daddy'd come back, and then Daddy'd be gone, and then Daddy'd come back. So I guess you go, and it's kind of like maybe drying out if you're on narcotics or something.
He wasn't on drugs, but it just
right.
He just kind of needed some time away. I mean, did he work or anything?
Most of the time he did not. We had his older brother, more or less supported us, Mother and us, and the three of us.
What was his name?
Jim, Uncle Jim. He had a grocery store in Eastland. Hard worker. He made sure that he was a bachelor. He never married. And he would make sure that we three girls had everything we needed because he devoted his life to us.
Would y'all go visit him? I know
Yes.
Eastland's not far at all from...
Yes, we would go visit the county commissioner. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. The county commissioner from Rising Star had to go every Monday to county meetings, I guess. Eastland's the county seat. We'd hitch a ride with him, spend the day, drive back to Rising Star with him. But now that's not anything that's interesting.
Well, when y'all would go to his grocery store, would he kind of just let y'all get candy and stuff?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what. The grocery store was right across the street from a hotel, and we'd spend summers with him, 2 or 3 weeks at a time, living in that hotel.
Stay in the hotel?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, when he'd send word for us to come down, and the three of us, and he'd rent the hotel, and then when we'd wake up, we'd cross the street. Of course, we weren't toddlers. We were when I left there, we were 12 or 13, something like that. But let's get off that subject. That's not interesting to anybody.
I think it is.
It's just one of my memories,
Well, you hitched a ride. Did y'all have a car, though?
No,
You didn't have a car?
we did not have a car. Rising Star is small. We walked everywhere we went. Church, we didn't go anywhere except church. Funerals. Every time somebody would die here, we'd go to the funeral.
Yeah. All right, so y'all moved. Okay, so y'all moved to rural. How did y'all do? I mean, if you didn't have a car, how did y'all
Walked.
You walked to rural.
Oh no! Okay, I wasn't listening. I kept thinking I need to get in that I walked to school in the rain.
Both way, uphill
with
both
snow.
ways.
Right.
The neighbors had a cow.
Right.
They could ride.
And we were crossing this lady's yard, going to school. Shortcutting across it. Girls, don't walk on my grass. You remember.
Yeah.
Dumb things.
Do you remember
like
the lady really? Was that in rural or was that in
That's in
Rising Star?
By the time we got to rural, I was in high school.
Okay.
Or starting to high school.
So how was that? So y'all get to rural. Mama starts working at a restaurant.
Will you add in all of this, Drew?
Yeah.
You sure? And take out what I won't take out?
Yeah.
You better.
Okay. So Mama starts working. It was called the Blue Bonnet, wasn't it?
Right.
Blue Bonnet Cafe.
Right.
And then your dad, did he come with y'all there?
He didn't go with us at the time, but he was there, in and out, like he was in Rising Star.
Okay. So
He was always either with us or in this hospital.
Right.
He wasn't just out running around somewhere. He couldn't run around either back then. If you didn't have transportation, you couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
But Uncle Herman always had a big fine car
Yeah.
because he had a good job with Humble, a corporation.
What kind of car did he have?
I don't know.
You don't remember what
Over
car?
the years, he probably had several.
Yeah. All right. Did y'all live close to him? Did y'all?
Well, Rule is like Rising Star, just a teeny bit bigger.
Yeah. All right, so she worked there at the Blue Bonnet.
And then bought it.
She did buy it, and then so she had to hire employees and stuff
Right,
like that.
that's me.
Yes, so who all worked there with her? You and
She cooked, and she had one waitress, and we were in school, but we were supposed to, when school's out, come help out, and on weekends. Waitress.
what kind of food did they serve?
Delicious, home cooked.
Chicken fried steak,
Yes,
all that.
had a grill, you know.
All right. Talk about school when you were in rule.
Okay, I started back then we just went 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And of course we didn't move to rural until the summertime to make sure school, we didn't transfer during the year. So I liked school.
Mm-hmm.
I played hooky one time.
Did you get caught?
No, but I remember it to this day. I was real nervous about it.
Yeah.
Wani was the valedictorian of our class when we graduated. Johnny was the valedictorian of her class when she graduated.
And you were the salutatorian, right? You were
No,
right.
no,
I thought
no,
you were right
no,
below.
no.
I thought you were right below.
No.
Wally.
Okay. I graduated with high honors, but I wasn't the top.
And I've heard you talk before that like kids in the school didn't ridicule you, but like they felt like you came in and sandbagged
Yes, no, that was Wani.
Wani.
Because she stepped, and Johnny too. When we stepped in, I mean, they took over. And I did as far as high honors, but I mean, I didn't sandbag anybody. I had fun through school.
What kind of things did you do in school?
Played hooky that one time. Got called in by the principal one time. He was looking at our grades. Of course, you transfer your grades. And he wanted to know why my grade was not as good as Wani's. So, but I had fun in school.
What was your explanation?
I don't remember now. Oh, we were real good in algebra and maths and things. I can't remember. The only thing I remember in school, when we would have tests, the man teacher would come in and, you Millwee girls are excused from this test. We know you're going to make 100. But it was easy.
Really?
I couldn't pass second grade math probably today.
Yeah.
But once you learn math, you know it. You can work any kind of a problem.
Okay.
Now let's quit this.
All right. Well, while you were there, you met Granddaddy, because he lived in rural, right?
He's from rural, right?
Did you date any other guys before you met?
Yeah, a whole
Granddaddy?
bunch.
Who were these people?
Well, a whole bunch. Everybody that asked me just about. Everybody knew everybody in rural.
At what age did Mama start letting you go on dates?
Well, dates back then were like, come by and pick you up, drive over to Stanford or Haskell to a movie or whatever. I don't remember. I remember one time she told me no, I couldn't go, and I went anyway. And when I came home, she was waiting in the dark. And the minute I opened that door, she slapped me just as hard as she could.
Really? What time did you have to come home every night?
I don't know.
Did kids stay out till 2 o'clock in the morning?
No. I guess 11 o'clock. I was a good girl, really.
Yeah.
That one time I played hooky, and one time I got slapped for not obeying her. I mean, she told you what to do, and she raised me pretty honestly.
Yeah.
Now let's get off of that.
I heard. Well,
let's
one last.
Get to this microwave.
Hold on. One last question. I heard a rumor once that you went on a date with Waylon Jennings.
No.
Is that true?
No.
I thought I had heard
Not
that.
true.
Well, I swore you told it to me.
No.
I didn't think that was possible, being
I
how he
never
was.
went with anybody that was anybody.
You went with a radio disc jockey.
Oh yeah, that is after I was grown.
Yeah.
KCBD.
Here in Lubbock?
Yes.
I thought you met Granddaddy in rural and then moved here.
Well, Granddaddy was in the Army. I moved when I was still single.
Okay, I didn't. Okay, so.
And he was either in rural or in the Army. In the Army, I guess.
Yeah. Well, so you did meet Granddaddy though in rural, right?
Well, yeah, we went to school together.
You didn't really. You did, but y'all didn't move together.
No. Mother moved Johnny first moved to Lubbock when she finished school.
Uh-huh.
She moved to Lubbock.
Why? What made her decide on Lubbock?
We had relatives here. I
Uh-huh.
always said I wished we'd had relatives in Dallas. That's where I always wanted to live.
The movie stars live.
I guess.
Yeah.
She moved first. Then when Wani and I graduated from high school, Wani came to Lubbock, went to Drums. I stayed there
Mm-hmm.
and messed around with all my boyfriends. And then when Mother and I moved to Lubbock, that's when I met the disc jockey. And your granddaddy came to Lubbock.
Mm-hmm.
And
did he just look you up or whatever from knowing you back in Rule?
Yeah.
He'd call you or what? Just.
Yeah, I guess when he came home in the Army. We rode. I mean, I had all kinds of letters from during the service.
Uh-huh.
I mean, when all of them were in the Army or
They
the
had nothing.
Navy or the whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, so he came back, and then did y'all start going out again when he came back?
Then he moved to Lubbock because
Uh-huh.
he had family here.
Uh-huh.
Nobody stays in Rule.
Right.
No young people.
Right. And so then did y'all started going out then or whatever when he came back?
Yes.
And then how long?
But he wasn't the only one that I went out with.
Right.
I had 2 or 3 boyfriends.
Well, what made you decide? Did he ask you to marry
Yeah.
him?
Yeah.
Yeah. How long had y'all gone out when he asked you to marry him?
I don't know, 2 or 3 years. We
Yeah.
married when I was 20. I told you I don't know dates.
Wow.
21.
21.
And I finished school when I was 16
Uh-huh.
or 70, something.
So there were about.
So there was 5 years difference there.
What? Where did y'all get married at?
In Lubbock in a district judge's office.
Uh-huh. Was anyone there?
Yes, wanted. Jay, she was married. Another girl I worked with. 2 I worked with. Just a few of us went to his home, and he married us.
Okay. What about his parents? You know, you
They
met
still,
them?
who, Howard's parents?
Yeah.
I knew who they were. I don't know if I had, when I lived there, everybody knew everybody in Rule.
Uh-huh. So, I mean, but they still lived in Rule?
Yes.
Okay. And what about your mom? Did she approve of Granddaddy? Did she? Because she
I
lived here,
guess.
so I'm sure he met her and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, she knew him because she knew everybody in Rue because of the cafe. He delivered ice to the cafe. Back then, you went to the ice house and got your ice. You didn't have ice makers like we have now. And so in this Coca-Cola box, I think it was called a Coca-Cola box with a lid, you put in all your soft drinks in bottles. And then the iceman comes along and brings in 50 pounds of ice or whatever it was, takes his ice pick, chips it up. That's how you get the drinks cold. And Howard was an iceman, and he also delivered to the house, ice to the house. You had refrigerators that you put a hunk of ice in. That's how you cool things back then. See how old I am?
What?
Did you ever see a hunk of ice?
I've in movies and stuff. They used a big,
Right.
these 2 big prongs
Right,
that would
exactly,
stick in it, and they'd
exactly.
hold it like
Right,
this,
exactly.
and then yeah, I've seen.
And you got to be real talented. There's marks on that, and you got to cut it, chip it at a certain place for it to break even. If I just wanted 25 pounds, then he had to cut it down to give me 25 pounds. Only it wasn't me. I was just in school.
Right. So okay, so he gets back and y'all get married. Did y'all get a house or an apartment or what?
An apartment.
An apartment. Where was that at?
I think it was somewhere on Erskine, wherever that is, a garage apartment.
Okay. It was like somebody's house and they
Right,
converted.
exactly. And
Okay.
immediately, he was a GI, and we got a GI loan and started building a house.
Okay.
So we didn't live in that apartment just as long as it took them to build the house, which was out on the hill, as we call it.
What were y'all doing like job wise? I mean, I know you got a GI
I
loan,
was
but-
working at the courthouse. He was driving a gasoline truck. So that's what we were doing when we married.
Okay. And
We
so-
had a honeymoon at what's this? Carlsbad, New Mexico.
Carlsbad Cavern.
Isn't that something?
Hey, you just took his truck, or what kind of
No,
car
he
did
had
he
a
have?
car.
He had a car?
I learned to drive in his car. It was a Ford coupe.
Uh,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
one seater.
Only had 2 doors.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
What color was it?
Kind of as I recall, it was kind of yellowish, cream colored or something. Good looking Ford.
Yeah. And so y'all drove there on your honeymoon.
Isn't that something?
And did you like it? Do you remember the trip?
I remember we visited his family, some of his uncle or somebody. I mean, back then, family was family.
Mm-hmm.
You visited them all. You went to see them. You didn't go sightseeing. You didn't have money for that. I'd already been to the Carlsbad Caverns in my senior class.
I was going to ask, did y'all ever go on any trips as kids? I mean, I know
No.
most people didn't
No.
travel a
No.
whole lot back then, but
No.
you went there for your senior trip.
Right, to Carlsbad Caverns.
Had you ever gone anywhere else, like any other trips you can remember?
No.
No?
Yes, to Lubbock. We'd come to Lubbock in the summer and visit
You just visit family.
my aunt here, mother's sister.
Yeah. So y'all go on a honeymoon to
Yeah.
Carlsbad Cavern.
In other words, didn't take off work except the weekend.
Okay. So anyway, so he was driving a gas truck. You were working at the courthouse. What did
Right.
you do at the courthouse?
I worked at the district clerk's office.
Mm-hmm. Who do you remember anything about that job? Do you remember?
Yeah, I got pregnant while I was working there and took a leave of absence.
Uh-huh.
Then got pregnant again and hated to take with Danny and hated to take another leave because everybody was standing in line for my job. So I retired from the courthouse. But before that, I worked in the county judge's office, in the liquor board, it was Texas Liquor Control Board then. I don't know what it is now. Inspectors for illegal alcohol.
Uh-huh.
You can tell me more than I can about the name of that.
TABC.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Now
so,
this is enough to I think my ribs are ready.
well, a little beep whenever they're ready. Then we can stop and pick up again. All right. So y'all were living on the hill. You had 2 kids now. This is
Right.
early 1950s. Were y'all affected?
In that new house that we had,
Right.
brand new house, and we had saved our money. We were both real stingy. Didn't spend anything. We went to drive-in movies,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about it. But you couldn't back then. You could just circle the hidey-ho.
Right.
Back before you married, that is.
Uh.
We bought furniture, moved into that new house.
I don't know exactly like I said, it may have been later. I don't know. You were in a car that caught on fire.
Right.
Was that before or after you had kids and whatnot?
That was after. In fact, Ricky was a baby.
Okay.
That was before Danny.
Tell me that story. Talk to me about that.
We were driving to pick up Daddy. He was at Wichita Falls. He was in a hospital then. See, that went on through my adult days, really. But his 90 days were up or whatever. And so we were going to pick him up.
Who all was going?
Just me and Howard.
Uh-huh.
And Howard, being in the gasoline and butane business, he converted his Ford automobile to butane. Had a butane tank in the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
Butane was real cheap back then. We'd picked Daddy up and headed back home, and there's a little town named, I forget, just right out of Wichita Falls.
Mm-hmm.
I smoked then. Daddy was in the back seat. We had a sedan by then, I guess. And I offered him a cigarette. He lit it, and the car caught on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was just
instant.
Right. In other words, if you've ever seen gas accumulate in an oven and reach down to, it just
almost
jumps
explodes.
at you. Right,
Yeah.
right. And that's what
So you were in the front seat,
right.
and he
Daddy
was in the back seat,
Uh-huh.
and it caught on fire. And then, I mean, Granddaddy was apparently out of the car.
He ran he was out of the car and he ran. I just sat there screaming, put my hand over my face like this.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's what I'll finish this interview with. And he dragged me out of the car, rolled me in the dirt. I was on fire. Now let's get on to something.
But did the car completely burn
Yes,
up? And how did y'all get back?
A woman comes along. I mean, there's people there at I'll call it a gas station, whatever it was. And we're just 15 miles out of Wichita Falls, something like that. So they throw me in the car, and Daddy, I guess, I don't remember about it. I'm sure they did. And she headed in her big Cadillac
She had a Cadillac.
to Wichita Falls, to the hospital.
Mhm.
I remember being scared because she was driving so reckless, I thought. I'm in the back seat.
Yeah.
And she's honking her horn as she's passing everybody, and no telling how fast that Cadillac was going. But I was scared of the Cadillac more than I was concerned, more of a wreck more than I was of being
Your
burned.
burns.
So that ended. I stayed there. I don't know when.
How long? You don't know how long?
No.
It was a couple days though, at least.
Oh yeah, it was a couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah. So then y'all, when you got back, did y'all just buy another car? How did y'all?
Yeah, the insurance company. Now, we also had another car. I guess Howard had a pickup and a car, because I remember we had 2 vehicles. And State Farm was our insurance covered. And they said that they would not cover that car as long as it had butane. That was illegal.
Mhm.
That was dangerous. But that they would cover the pickup. And I told them, no thank you. If you don't cover both of them, you don't cover either one. So I changed insurance companies.
Mhm.
Now that's not important. But I hope you're going to edit all of this,
yeah.
Drew.
All right. So now you have 2 kids. You know, are living on the hill, and you retired from the courthouse. Was it to raise the kids, or?
Right. No, because I was pregnant with Danny.
Mhm.
So then I started doing the court reporting work at home, set up with a typewriter and desk and all that.
Mhm.
I worked at home.
And but you had 2 kids. You had Aunt Ricky and Dad. How far apart were they again in age? Couple of years.
About little less than 2 years.
Well, listen, is that what you always wanted? 2?
No, I just wanted one.
You just wanted one?
Yeah.
But you want a boy or a girl?
Didn't matter. I just wanted one child.
Yeah.
And your granddaddy said, no way am I going to raise a single child. They're nothing but spoiled, rotten. There's just not, you just don't do that.
Right.
So we had Danny,
Okay.
who is my pride and joy. Ricky. Ricky knows that.
What did y'all, what kind of memories do you have? What did y'all do when they were little kids? Like, in the age, Christmas, do you have any Christmas memories? Did y'all
Yes,
give them
big
toys?
families. Big families. Wani was married, had 2 kids.
She lived like across the street or something, didn't she? Just down the street?
Down the street. Johnny was married, had 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Every occasion, and Mother and Daddy, we all got together, whether it was Christmas, Thanksgiving, wherever. We always had family.
Mm-hmm. And, but what kind of stuff? I know Dad had like a Stingray bike or something. Did he get that on Christmas or his birthday or what?
Birthday. It was black and it was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. I don't remember that it was a Stingray, but.
Right.
But
do you remember specific things just about them growing up?
I remember Danny had his tonsils out when he was 5 years old. And I remember after he came back from having them out, he would just look at me. He didn't talk because his throat was sore.
Mm-hmm.
But he'd just look at me like he could kill me. Like you did this to me.
Because it hurt, yeah.
But Ricky never had any problems. I had a dog.
That's what I was
You
gonna
want to
say.
hear about Queenie?
Yeah, you had Queenie. Okay, so tell me about what kind of dog was Queenie.
Queenie was a boxer, a female boxer.
Uh-huh.
We wanted a puppy, and she had some puppies.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to check out to buy a puppy. And I fell in love with her. She was the mama. And she'd had this litter of puppies, and somehow she looked so thin and sad and hungry. And so
But they let you take them.
I offered to buy. I says, I'll buy the mama. And he grabbed at it. He was tired of dogs, I think. And I took her. And to me, she was my pup. She was grown.
Mm-hmm.
We had to chain her to the backyard for a week or so. Or I was told that she would run back and go back to her puppies. But after that, with all the food I was giving her and attention and love, she was my dog.
Yeah.
She got run over on the Amarillo Highway.
Really? How far from the house was that?
I don't know, a mile.
How did she just get off of her chain, or was that after
Oh,
she was no longer on the
she
chain?
wasn't chained after 4 days.
Right.
She was
She'd
that was
get
her
out.
home, and I think she was neglected at that other place. I think that's why I liked her so.
And did she just get out of the yard or something?
Yeah, she could jump any fence.
Uh-huh.
She could go anywhere, and she messed around like dogs do. Got run over on the Amarillo Highway. We got a call from probably the person that ran over because she had the tags on, and Howard took her to the vet, and the vet said, you know, she was all broken up. She was still alive.
Yeah.
So we had her put to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And even after we moved into this house in Lubbock, years and years and years after that, I found her collar out here in the storage, not in the storage room, but out here in the garage. Granddaddy had hidden it from me, but kept it.
Yeah.
So.
How long did y'all have her?
Oh, boy, I can't remember. One time she came up missing, and we knew she was stolen. We had milkmen that time, you know, put your milk on the porch, you know, and everybody loved Queenie. And we felt like he stole her, but didn't know that. And she followed Ricky and Danny to school. She'd go to school with them and sat there she didn't go in. She just sat out on the porch or wherever.
Yeah.
And other kids were afraid to come in, so the principal would call the dog pound, and they'd come get her, and I'd bail her out. She followed Ricky everywhere she went, absolutely. She could go across the street to play with the kids there, and Queenie would be sitting right on their porch.
Yeah.
She didn't go in, but she was watching after my two kids.
Yeah. Do you remember any of the people on the block or anything? Any of the
Yeah, a lot of them.
kids that like?
Because we lived there for, I think, 13 years.
Yeah.
In fact, Danny was born there. We moved when he was 12. We moved to this house when he was 12.
Yeah. And y'all had, still talking about pets, y'all had Fanny, right? That was
Danny's dog.
But it was here in this house, right?
Right.
Talk about like when y'all decided to move here, what made y'all?
I hate to mention that, but Ricky was first year Alderson. Danny had gone through the 5th grade, and your granddaddy had always been prejudiced. All of us old people usually are. I'm not. I keep telling myself, but deep down, you know, you remember all those things. And he took her to school one day after she had been sick or something, and she had a locker between 2 colored boys in Alderson. I had been wanting to move for the longest.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have it. You know, no, this is home. He came on that day, find a place, we're moving.
Yeah.
So he wanted to get her away from those 2 colored boys. He didn't know what Alderson was like,
Right.
I guess, till he went up there and saw it, and he just didn't want any part of that.
Yeah.
So that's a story that shouldn't be told, probably. But
Just sign of the times.
True.
But during all this, when did he progress up to having
Service station?
his own service station? Were y'all still living on the hill when he got the service station?
No. I don't remember.
But where was it at? It was downtown.
Yeah, he had 2. He had downtown Guff. I named that.
Really? I like Gulf's. Isn't it? It's
Well, I named it downtown Guff.
Oh, that's what. Okay, it's called Downtown Gulf. Okay.
Right. Because back then, with all my legal experience from the courthouse, I knew he had to have a certificate for tax purposes and things. You know, had to have a name, and so to me that was an excellent name because it was right downtown. And
Where was the other one?
It was about 2 blocks. In other words, Guff came along. He owned the station, but it was a franchise type thing. He owned what was in it and everything.
Right.
And so Guff was making all of these changes, and they told him, he was about the last one in Lubbock, I think, says we're closing down. And so a mobile fella about 2 blocks down the street, still in downtown Lubbock, found out about it, and he called and he said, you can move right down here and take over my mobile station. So Howard picked up his cash register and went down, and of course Guff bought back all of his Guff stuff. He just took his cash register and same day started the mobile.
And
That's enough to, I think my ribs are.
no, they haven't beeped yet. Aren't they gonna beep?
I don't know. I can't hear very well this day.
Well, I haven't heard it beep. Let's see. Well, kind of. So yeah, I just lived here. Dad and Ricky both went to Monterey. That's where.
First they went to Danny went to Haynes.
1 year though, right? It was
Right, while Ricky was in Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Then they both were in Evans. And then they both were in Monterey. Danny was 2 years behind her, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 years.
Okay, and you were still working out of the
Court
house?
reporting at home.
Okay. Let's see, what else?
I'm like your mama. I have to have that dollar come in every week.
Right. So you're a big fan of the Mets. When did you start watching the Mets, or when did you become a Mets fan?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember that, but yes, I'm a big fan.
Mm-hmm. You watch them all the time now.
They're in spring training already. Here, this is just the 1st of March. Opening is April 2nd.
Were you watching the game when they won the World Series in 1986?
Yes.
How did that?
Oh, it was wonderful.
Yeah. So you were a fan back then, even.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Talk about, like, I know that, I mentioned trips earlier, and you said you never really. What about in your adult life? I know you went to New Orleans with Dad once.
Right.
That was he won a trip with Ford Motor Company, right?
Went to California.
New Orleans. You got to go to the Sugar Bowl, right? Or
Yes, but I don't know if he won. It had something to do with Leland White.
okay.
And somebody backed out. Somebody of the group that was going from winning whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then your daddy got me in to take that man's place, so I carried a name tag of a man. It had all been cut and dried, but
Right.
that I did get to go to New Orleans, and that was something I will always remember.
Yeah.
Going to the Sugar Bowl, the New Year's Eve party, Leland getting dog drunk, seeing my first streetcar,
Yeah.
and we had black-eyed peas on New Year's Day in a cafeteria. We looked all over New Orleans for a cafeteria so we could have good luck the next year, that whole year, which we did.
Yeah.
We've always had good luck.
All right. Well, I'll ask you. I mentioned earlier the microwave or whatever. What kind of technological advancements have you seen? Did you have a telephone when you
No.
were a kid? When did
We
you get your
didn't.
first telephone?
Oh, I don't remember. I guess in Rule. No, we didn't even have a telephone in Rule. We didn't have a car in Rule. I don't know.
And
I guess when we came to Lubbock.
when was the first time you rode on an airplane?
I guess when I went to New Orleans. I went to Houston one time with legal secretaries. I don't remember which was which.
Yeah.
I think New Orleans was the first one.
Okay. And I'm trying to think. Have you been?
I was a big officer in legal secretaries. That is after I quit my court reporting and went to work for lawyers. Oh, there's my rib, bud.
All right, we'll pick it up. We'll switch the ribs
okay.
and we'll pick it up.
Okay. And Destiny and
We can all look at it in 100 years.
No.
Sit down.
You won't cut it off, Drew. I know you won't.
What do you mean I won't cut it off?
You won't edit it and take out what I want to take out.
All right, we're back. We had to get the ribs out of the oven. All right, I was talking about like technological advancements in your life, and you've been on. Have you only been on 2 planes in your whole life? New Orleans and Houston.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And I would have gotten lost if I'd have tried to go without a group.
What other cities have you been to? Yeah, I moved to Arkansas 6 months ago, and you talked about long time ago. Y'all went to Arkansas.
Oh, right.
For
On
like
a vacation, a fishing trip.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. Did you ever go on any other trips like that?
Went to California before I married.
Really?
One, one summer went to Long Beach.
Did y'all drive or what?
Yes.
Really?
We had fun before we married. That's the reason I keep telling you, enjoy your life while you can. Because once you get married, you're stuck.
Yeah, you got to raise kids and stuff. So, wow, I never knew y'all went to California. What did y'all do?
I remember the beach, going to Sears and buying a swimsuit.
Yeah.
Why should I have a swimsuit? I hadn't been living anywhere close to water.
Right.
I can't swim. Still can't. But I guess thought I was supposed to lay out on the beach.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, so okay, so you don't remember when y'all got your first phone?
It would be in Lubbock.
Yeah, but then we talked earlier about a microwave, and that was a big deal. That was a very big deal.
Give you our first phone number.
Yeah, do you know it?
Porter 23581.
What the hell is Porter?
Well, that's the
What
prefix. Porter, Swift, and it depended on what part of Lubbock you lived.
What did that
in.
mean?
The city was divided into 3 areas,
Uh-huh.
sort of. Swift is SW, Porter was PO, and
So you would dial whatever is on a phone.
you didn't dial back then.
I know, but you would. There's coordinating letters.
Right.
And so you had to.
Shorewood, SH.
Weird.
Tell Donna that knows all about this telephone company, Southwestern Bell, that there's 3. She probably knows that.
Yeah.
Porter 23581.
I don't. I've never.
Mother had that the day she died.
Really?
She did.
Uh,
Used to, if you moved in another area, you had to pick up that prefix.
yeah.
But nowadays, you don't have to do nothing like that.
Right. Man, okay, so anyways, what kind of got us started is we talked about the microwave. The microwave was like one of the biggest like innovations because for thousands of years, basically, people have used like not an oven like you and I have now, but the fact that you use microwaves to cook food, like, did you start cooking a lot with the microwave? Did that
Warm my coffee
warm
when I
it?
came back home from work.
Yeah.
I had leftover coffee. Still don't cook with it.
But I mean, were you just amazed at the way it saves time?
Yes.
And I mean, did
Hard
just
to believe. It was expensive back then.
uh-huh.
But an item that I liked even better than the microwave was the garage door opener.
Really?
I also bought that with my Christmas bonus from Jan Fouts.
Talk about working with Jan Fouts.
I loved him. I still love him to this day.
Yeah.
He appreciated me, well, maybe not more than Norton Baker,
Yeah.
but he was a better lawyer than Norton. Don't tell anybody I said
Uh,
He was a sweeter, more likable person.
what I've heard about your interview. Whenever you went into interview, that you told him something about you handed him your resume or whatever, and you said I type such and such words a minute. What did you say to him?
I didn't have a resume. I always got hired because I was one of the Millwee girls. Somebody was always ahead of me.
Yeah.
My family, I went to work at the courthouse because Wani was there first.
Mm-hmm.
My first job was at the John Deere house as a bookkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
I had bookkeeping 1 in rule, and I thought I was a bookkeeper. All I did was do minor posting.
Yeah.
But that was at the John Deere house. From there, I followed Wanda to the courthouse.
Yeah. So you worked for Jan Fouts just as a secretary for him, and then you went to Norton Baker. Why did you leave Jan Fouts and go to Norton Baker?
Because Jan Fouts did not have retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Wani and Johnny both worked for Smith and Baker,
Uh-huh.
and they had retirement. And I wanted what they have. I've always followed them around, it seems.
Yeah.
Stayed longer, but I left Jan because Norton had pension plan and a profit sharing plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I quit Jan and went over there.
And
I got hired over there. I didn't have to take a resume.
Right.
I mean, I was a Millwee, and Johnny and Wani were there.
Yeah.
When I worked for Jan, Sandra was there.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't a Millwee, she was a Chisholm, but she was a Millwee clan. Candy worked for Smith and Baker. I mean, we've always followed each other. Every time there would be an opening, Norton would come to me, are there any other Millwees out there? I mean, that's the reputation I had, a hard worker.
Yeah. You used a typewriter every day, right?
Right.
And now sitting right over here, we have a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about a computer. Like, when was it that you first got a computer? It was like about...
Working for Norton, only it
Okay.
wasn't called a computer, it was called a word processor.
Mm-hmm.
But it's on the same, it does it for you after
Right.
you feed it like you want it.
Right.
But if you don't put in, it comes out just like you put in.
What did you think of that?
I hated it.
Why did you hate it? Just because it was new?
I could do better with just a typewriter, I thought.
Uh-huh.
You had to stop and think, I just didn't like it. But I learned it. I had to because the world was changing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was big. Oh, it is huge.
Yeah.
Big old thing. Loud. That's not why I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But my work with Norton, 13 years, and I had learned 2 word processors that was turning into the computer, and I was wanting to retire anyway, and so they were fixing to buy the 3rd one.
Mm-hmm. And that's when you retired?
And I just thought, there's no way I'm going to learn another word processor.
You,
But I was 60,
yeah.
so why not quit?
Right. And then and then you got a computer. You're 78 now.
Uh-huh.
You've had a computer about 10 years.
Well, it was kind of an accident that I got one. Danny always wanted me to have one, and there wasn't any way, I was going to learn anything like that anymore. So he and Ricky bought me for my birthday a printer.
Mm-hmm.
What would I do with a printer?
A printer.
So that convinced me, okay, I'll buy the computers. Now I'm on my 2nd one.
And you love it. You use it every day.
Absolutely.
Oh, you use it for email?
No, the main thing is to check my money in the bank every morning.
Yeah.
Make sure somebody hadn't run off with it.
Did you ever think that there would be a time where you could do that, where you could access your bank account without having to go to the bank or even call? Do you remember a time when you could call and check a phone bank over a phone?
I knew you could. I never did because I made sure I had enough money in the bank that I didn't have to worry about a balance that I had to write a check.
Right.
I was always real stingy. Still am to this day.
Uh-huh.
I was raised in the Depression, remember? That's all I knew.
Yeah. Now I'm your grandkid, so you how did you feel when you knew you were going to become a grandkid or a grandparent?
I wasn't impressed at all. I really wasn't. I had my life, we had the lake house.
Talk to me about the lake house. When did y'all get the lake house?
We fished there all the time. Howard and I would go down on weekends because Lonnie and Robert were fishing there. I've always followed family around. Don't do anything on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So we fished there and decided I wanted to live there when I retired. So we bought a lot. Went over to Mineral Wells and bought a prefab house. Is that what you call them? Had it moved.
Yeah, it's a manufactured home.
Right. We moved it, but it was just the shell because I wanted to make the inside the way I wanted the inside. It was just, if you know what I mean by the shell, 4 walls and a roof.
No furnishings, no. It wasn't. Was it even drywall? I guess it was finished on the inside.
No, it was nothing but boards.
Yeah.
2x4s or whatever. It had a roof.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we had that moved over. It was so long ago that there wasn't a telephone line out there, and we had to pay the telephone company to come out there and move a telephone pole, so that we could get the truck through the lake road to set the house down on the lot.
Yeah.
We were one of the first ones there, out there with all the rattlesnakes. So we started building that house every weekend when we could. We'd go down there, we'd buy things in Lubbock, take it down there, light fixtures, anything, and it finally got finished.
Mm-hmm. And then you,
Didn't enjoy it really after it got finished.
Really?
What else was there to do?
You enjoyed building it and whatnot,
Right,
but once it was done,
Right.
And what kind of thing? You would go down there and you'd fish. You caught a huge, was it a black bass or a striped bass?
Black bass.
A black bass.
How much? Mounted. I was with Robert. We didn't have a boat. We did have a boat. Your granddaddy didn't know how to navigate a boat. He didn't.
All right.
So we bought this little boat. I say little boat. And he kept running into everything with it. I certainly couldn't.
Yeah.
But when I really did my fishing was with Robert and his big fine boat.
And you caught this huge black bass once, and that
had it mounted.
And it's out in your little house now.
I see you had to change the camera.
You keep moving around on me now.
Well, I'm getting tired.
Okay. Well, okay. You have 3 TVs now in your house, and that was there. When did you get your first TV growing up?
Just about the time. Oh, growing up, I got it when Ricky and Danny were both born.
Really?
When we got our first
Was it a
TV.
black and white TV?
Yes. And then it changed to color, and I remember I was fascinated. I mean, the TV, the station had the color. My TV didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing a red pencil. I couldn't believe a red pencil.
Really? What show was it? Do you remember?
I don't know.
That's the first.
It didn't. They didn't telecast all day long. There
Right.
would be programs like My Wife's Got a Whirlpool. That'd be a washer and dryer.
Yeah.
That's the first commercial I remember. So my first washer and dryer was a Whirlpool.
Yeah.
They'd add programs along. You know, I moved again.
I know. Let's see. I just thought I'd ask that. Just you watch a lot of TV now. You watch politics.
Exactly.
What? Why?
I'm a Democrat. I don't like George Bush.
Nobody likes George Bush. Even the Republicans that voted for him probably are kicking themselves. So George Bush has been our president now twice. He won the election in 2000, and then now he won in 2004. And just you've always, or at least as far as I can remember, when did you first get into politics, involved with politics?
I grew up in it. I did grow up in politics, but back in Texas was a Democratic state. My mother and daddy, were Democrats. You're always like your parents usually. I mean, that's just the way it is. Democrats, in my opinion, like to take care of people that need taken care of. Republicans care about money and nothing else. And Johnny turned a Republican, and I told her, that's because you got a certain amount of money in the bank. Is that why? But that's the way I feel about it. Democrats are poor like me. Republicans are wealthy. They work hard for their money, and we Democrats expect to live off the government. And my day's coming, I hope.
Yeah. So then also, okay, now you're a great-grandparent. How does that make you feel?
Doesn't make me feel any different. I mean, you got to be with a baby to get attached to them. That's the way with when they brought Ricky to me in the hospital. I said, she don't belong to me. She didn't look like I thought she was going to look.
What did you think she was going to look like?
I don't know. But she didn't look like I thought she was. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they assured me that she was mine. Showed me her bracelet or whatever. Danny, there was no doubt but what he was mine. He looked just exactly like his daddy. Cotton-headed. He had a lot of hair, and he was just as blonde, and I'd look through the nursery window at him. He had to be in the nursery back then. And people could walk up. I can tell which child's yours, because he was different. He looked different.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen any of his baby pictures.
Right, full head of blonde hair.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's 2007 now. What did you think when you were, say, 50 years ago, what 2007 would be like? Did it ever even cross your mind? Did it ever?
No.
It
You
never
just
did?
live for the day.
Yeah.
I've had a good life. I've never had to worry about feeding the kids or the grandkids or paying the bills. I've never had a debt collector at my door or on the telephone. I mean, I've always been an honest, upstanding citizen. Work for a living, do without what I can't afford.
You've always enjoyed Lubbock. I know that my folks moved off. I've moved off. Did you ever want to move off? Did
No,
you ever?
no,
You've always wanted to live here.
It's too late for me to change now.
Yeah.
No, I never did.
I don't know. Is there anything else? We're almost out of tape. I only have a couple more. You talked for about an hour.
I got 2 more minutes. Let's
2 minutes. What do you got to say?
Oh, let me
2
see.
minutes.
Let me see what. Our family has always been lucky, in my opinion. And we've not had any tragedies. It was kind of a tragedy when your granddaddy died, but that was unexpected,
Right.
So, I mean, that's all.
Well, with him, did that? I don't know. There's not really a whole lot to say there because it happened so quickly. It's not like.
Right.
And I mean,
There was not any problem with that. He was in the hospital for 60 days.
Mhm.
We were completely insured. Did not have to pay a penny back then because he was under Medicare.
yeah.
And I always carried enough insurance to this day. I don't have to pay anything extra. I just walk out. I pay it, but I pay it in monthly premiums.
Yeah.
I sleep good at night.
Well, but I mean, even besides that, you know, you're talking about the money aspect. I mean, emotionally,
It's always been important to me.
right? but emotionally, he was so young, you know, and like I said, but there was nothing really we could do. It's not like
He was 66,
Mhm.
and he always thought he was going to live to be as old as his daddy, who died at 95 or something like that. And I used to laugh at him. I never thought my mother would live to 97, but I certainly don't expect to live to 97.
right.
That's all.
I'd written down some things. Let's see if there's anything I didn't.
In 2 minutes, that 2 minutes is up. We're on
Man.
borrowed time.
You like to cook now?
I love to cook.
You love to cook. What's your favorite
New
thing to cook?
recipes. I love new recipes. I get on the internet and try a new recipe.
Yeah.
One out of
Do you like
5.
cooking more or baking more?
Baking.
You like baking, like cakes, pies, and
Right.
stuff. What's the best thing you make?
I think a pecan pie.
I was just gonna say pie crust because I mean you can just
Okay.
master any. Well, but yeah, you think I mean that's what
You
that
just
we.
don't want pie crust to intimidate you. You know, you're the boss and you roll that out and dare it to not do what you want it to do.
So what's is that the trick to?
That's the trick. Don't be scared of anything.
And that can work in more than just pie crust.
Now let's cut this off and edit it right quick.
Okay, I don't have editing. What are you looking at?
I don't know. I can't see that well.
All right.
What do you mean you don't have editing?
Your computer doesn't edit. I have to edit my house.
Uh-huh.
Do you have computer software to edit video? Do you have the cable to link my camera to your computer?
Yes.
You have a cable to link it. You have a
I
phone.
got all kinds of cable.
You
Every
don't
time
have
I
the
buy
cable.
something new, a bunch of extra cables come with it, and I got them all in there in a drawer.
I don't think you have the cable. Well, you can look at it on your TV. We'll plug it into your TV and watch a little bit of it.
Okay, and I may break your camera after that.
Okay. I did you good justice. All right, I think we're done here.
But we didn't do good.
What do you mean?
Well, we just didn't. I mean, to me, nothing that I said
Oh.
was interesting.
What do you mean? It's all interesting.
Well, I didn't get to name my great-grandkids.
You wanted to name your great grandkids.
Well, sure.
Oh, you name them. I thought, well,
No,
you
I
got
wanted
it's
to
still
tell-
going.
I wanted to tell all of these people that I have got destiny